Hey guys, my name is Marissa. I'm going to show you guys how I make my vinyl lip gloss labels. So if you're interested, go ahead and keep watching. So the machine that I use for this is the Silhouette Portrait Air 2, and I am using the Silhouette software here. I'm going to start off by clicking on the A, which is the text icon, and then spell out my label name. You'll see me choose the text above. I was just checking the size. But what you're going to do is choose the text that you're working on, highlight it, and then choose the A on the right hand side, which will be your text styles. This is the style I chose for my customer. I bought this from the Silhouette Design Store. So now what I'm going to do is offset this. The point of the offset is to make my cut line a tiny bit bigger. You can choose whatever size you'd like to change them to. I choose 0.003 because I only want them slightly bigger, not much of a difference. I don't want it to distort my letters too much. But here I am putting in the distance I messed up the first time. And so I'm taking away the old letters and grouping together the new ones. So I just highlight it all, or select them all, and then choose group. I am changing my fill color. This is optional, you don't have to do this. I'm also turning off the lines. I feel like it's a little bit easier for me when I cut my labels out to have a fill color. I make less mistakes when I do this. And now you can change the size of the label either from the width and height above or the little square boxes on the sides of the label name. So now I'm just moving it up on my mat. I'm not going to use this, I'm just going to use the previous ones that I've used before. You just need to make sure that they are within the cut lines and on your mat wherever you're going to place your vinyl. So now I'm checking to make sure that my text is correct and all the cut lines are correct. Sometimes I'll find that where the letters touch, there'll be some cut lines in between, and I don't want that, so I always like to make sure and double check. And then I check my tool is on the correct settings, and I'm using a ratchet blade. And for holographic vinyl, I always use vinyl metallic settings, but I do change the force up to 11. Now I'm placing my vinyl on my mat. For some reason my machine's cutting off, so I have to place my vinyl a tad bit lower than the grid lines. And you line it up with the second line on your Silhouette machine. This is the Portrait Air 2 again. And then you press the up arrow button. And now it's loaded. That's the button I used. Then you'll go back to your computer screen and hit send whenever you are ready. So my machine's done cutting. Now I'm going to unload my mat and hit the down button, and the machine will let go of my mat, or it will eject my mat. And this is what my labels look like. And here I was trying to peel the extra vinyl with one hand and it wasn't working. So I'm going to show you here, me just pulling back the extra vinyl that I don't need. So depending on your blade, if it's brand new, you will be able to pull the extra vinyl apart or off easily like this. I'm able to do this with one hand because I have a very sharp blade in there. But once your blade starts to dull out, this might be a struggle. So if you find that you're struggling to take the extra pieces off, you probably need to change your blade. But this is what it looks like after taking the extra vinyl off. Now it just needs to be weeded. So here I use my tweezers to weed. These are very sharp tweezers. I think I got these on Amazon. So you just take off all the extra pieces and bits that you don't need. I'm sorry that I'm recording this with one hand and trying to peel with the other, so this is a little difficult for me. But yeah, you just take off whatever you don't need. So this is what mine looks like after weeding the excess. So here I'm just showing you the transfer tape that I use. I have two different types of transfer tape. This one is the grid transfer tape. It's good to make sure that your labels are lined up and even. The other one is just like a tape. It has no backing. The grid has a backing on it. The only time I use my grid is if I'm applying the labels to the tubes myself. If I'm selling just the label, then I will use the transfer tape without the backing. This grid tape has a less tacky back, or I'm sorry, it's less tacky, so it's harder to get the letters off, so I don't like my customers to struggle. So I will give them the better transfer tape. So again, this does have a backing on it, and the way that I cut these out is I just basically size it up to the squares, the grid, and I just figure out which lines I need to cut and where, and then I just cut it. It's easier to use this if you want things lined up, but if you find yourself a transfer tape that's better for holographic vinyl, then I would totally go for it. But this particular one is not very good for holographic. It works well for glossy or matte vinyl, but the holographic is just a little too thick for it to adhere to and transfer over. But here I'm going to show you me applying the transfer tape onto my labels. Struggling again. So this is what it looks like once it is peeled off the backing. And here I'm just going to apply it onto my labels. You can place it to where the lines are straight across. I typically just lay it down, however. So here you can either take a credit card or Silhouette and Cricut both make squeegees for this. I use the back of my scissors. It works best for me. You can use whatever you like. I would just avoid anything sharp. So here I'm just rubbing the back of my scissors across the letters to make sure that they adhere properly to the transfer tape. So here I'm just showing you what it looks like after. So again, sometimes I have issues with this tape, but it did a pretty good job this time around. So before I ship these out to my customers, I always make sure that they are adhered properly to the transfer tape. Sometimes during transit it does transfer back onto the backing, but I always double check just to make sure and make their lives easier. So this is what it looks like. Once you peel it off, it should come off like this. Sometimes if you have trouble peeling the tape off of the backing, I will peel the backing off of the tape, if that makes sense. It just seems to work when I'm struggling to get the letters off. I'm so sorry. I know I'm terrible at these videos, but if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them down in the comments below, and I will see you next time.